GLOTIN, the no resistance cane.
Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be talking through my experiences in working with the GLOTIN style of cane. Now, as always, I bought two types. I bought the gouged shaped and profiled for $7.35 and also the gouged for $3.60, both from Charles Double Reed Company. First, let's dig into my experiences working with the gouged shaped and profiled. The tube on this is going to run at about 30 millimeters, give or take just a tiny little bit. The shape fits the Rieger 1A. The gouge comes in at about 1.3. Now, the overall profile is actually quite thick. For a reed length that comes in at about 55 millimeters, the tip comes in on the micrometer at 60 to 65. The heart comes in anywhere from 79 to 84. And the back of the reed will come in anywhere from 105 to 115. So if you buy this cane, expect that you are going to get a lot of work out of your knife and your files and maybe even some sandpaper. Okay, let's dig into the gouged cane. You guys know that when I dig into the gouged cane, this is when I really start to solidify some of my opinions on the cane. This is the first cane that caused a cane injury for me out of all of the summer reed making. I was shaping and the cane just hit my finger just right, and it was so sharp that it sliced my finger. So it wasn't even a razor blade, it was just sharp cane. The cane overall was very pliable. When I would do the fold over, when I was forming a reed, it would feel like the cane was stretching more than other styles of cane that I had worked with. When I got to the portion of scraping with a knife and also using a diamond file, that's when I really started to notice that there were some inconsistencies in the cane. The cane has a bit of hyperpigmentation in the cane, which makes it a bit of challenge for scraping. I'm one of those bassoonists that likes to scrape using a light. When I put the reed underneath the light, I can usually see heavy portions that need to be lifted off, where to scrape more. And I can also be sure that I'm not putting holes in the cane. But when there's hyperpigmentation, it will just appear as a shadow, but it's not actually heavier there. So as you begin to scrape there and take more cane off, it's not actually heavier there. So you can just keep scraping and then all of a sudden you have a hole in your reed. And then of course with the hole in the reed, then you have thrown the tip off. So this is something to definitely be careful of and aware of with the GLOTIN cane. This cane also had a tendency to do what I like to call as the pull and tear. As I was scraping on it with a knife or the diamond file, the fibers would tend to catch, and as they would catch, you could pull them off like a little bit of string cheese, but instead of like the Charles cane where it was string cheese that would go down the side of the cane, this was going down the tip of the cane. So you'll see little portions that are lighter in the scraping of the reed that are like little tiny channels of holes that run down either side of the spine, and this is where the reed had a tendency to do what I like to call the pull and tear. This is a characteristic of usually a softer style of cane, so it is something to just be aware of. And as you're aware of it, you might consider working a bit more with sandpaper so that you have less chance of catching on those fibers and then pulling them. And again, I was able to pull those fibers both with a diamond file and also with a knife. The overall impression of this cane is that it is the least resistant cane I have ever worked with. Even when I left it heavy, the cane and the reed was coming in at the back at over 100 on the micrometer. The tip was still coming in at about 50. I was able to double tongue up to tempo. Like usually when a reed is that heavy, it's going to be resistant. It might even have a little bit of a kick to it. But this reed and this style of cane, because it happened on all of them, it didn't have the kickback to it. So I was, throughout the breaking in process, able to practice all of my double tonguing excerpts up to tempo, which was absolutely shocking. The tone color was quite bright and direct. Almost, I would say, I'm going to throw it out there. For me, I'm naturally bright already, so it made me quite piercing. I know that if I gave this cane to some of my students that have a darker sound, they would sound like a brighter but still dark version of themselves. But for me, this is a style of cane, because I'm already so bright, that I shy away from. And it was bright throughout the breaking in process. It wasn't until the very, very end that it started to darken up, but it still has that very clear center of tone that is quite direct. So I need something for me that is a little bit warmer, a little bit softer, soothing out my edges. So for me, this is a cane that I might shy away from. For those of you that have a very woodsy, dark sound and you're looking for something with a little bit more projection, this might be a style of cane for you. Interestingly enough, this cane loved high notes. Even when on one of the reeds I decided to take it down extremely light as I could go, it still liked high notes. And similarly, even as I would scrape it down in the breaking in process, sometimes it will lose the high notes just a little bit as the cane weakens, but then it will strengthen up as you continue playing on it. It still had the high notes even when I was scraping it down to nothing. So this was an intriguing style of cane, one that for me is probably not a match for my physical body as it resonates with the bassoon and that matchup, but I can see it working for other people. If you are using it, always be sure to work with a micrometer, because if there's hyperpigmentation, it's very easy to accidentally overscrape and put a hole in the reed. And also try to work as often as you can with sandpaper. If you have experiences with this cane, I would love to hear from you. I know a lot of you out there are working with this cane and suggested I try it so that you could get my feedback about it. So I would love to hear if your experiences with this cane are similar to mine, or if they differ, and possibly if I should be ordering from a different vendor. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to make sure that you never miss one of my future videos, be sure to click that subscribe button. And I will see you guys next time. Bye! The GLOTIN had been quite bright. The Van Doren was so loud and just no flexibility. The Madeir had been great tone color, but just brittle and easy to crack. And also sometimes the tip opening had little waves in it. These are just canes that I'm dealing with off the top of my head that I know I've covered with you guys. This reed was everything that I wanted it to be. I mean, when it scraped,